work, or probably you're at work already. Wherever it is you are, just stay glued to your radio set. 87.7 is the dial, the station that brings you the best in news, talk, and of course music. And then we are the voice of integrity, and I can always say, you can count on us anytime, any day. We are always here for you. All right, without much ado, you know what we do on the program. This is News Lens, where we review the newspaper headlines every morning, every weekday, from the hours of 7 till around 8 a.m. on this dial. We review some of these headlines that made it through to the Nigerian dailies, and then we bring our analyst in to talk about some of these major headlines. Do not forget, you also get to be a part of the conversation. Yeah, any time comes, we open the phone lines for you to join the conversation, and then you hear your views and thoughts as regards some of the things we'll be discussing on the program this morning. Do not forget, we are also streaming live on Facebook this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You can join the conversation via Facebook by dropping your comment on Facebook this morning. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. His deal and do on Facebook. All right, my name is Oluwataya Ajiwale, and I'm reporting for duty today, the 8th day in the month of August 2024. How are you doing this morning? You're welcome to the program. Like I said earlier, we'll be reading out the headlines shortly, right after which we'll bring on our analyst to review some of these headlines with us this morning. All right, this morning I have 4 newspapers with me in the studio. I've got the Vanguard newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune, the Guardian, and the Punch newspaper this morning. So just stay glued to your radio set because it promises to be an interesting and indicative moment on radio this morning. All right, I'll be starting with headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, with the banner headline here on the front page of the Punch newspaper saying, hunger protest loses team as DSS grills 7 foreigners. Hunger protest loses team as DSS grills 7 foreigners. The story comes to the writer that says, police crackdowns halts protest. US-UK demands dialogue. Northern governors relax curfew. And this one saying, Sanusi blames Kano looting on intelligence failure. Intelligence failure. Tension rises as soldier shoots boy in Kaduna. I'll take that again. Hunger protest loses team as DSS grills 7 foreigners. Police crackdown halts protest. And this one says the US-UK demands dialogue. Northern governors relax curfew. And then we have this one saying Sanusi blames Kano looting on intelligence failure. And this one saying tension rises as soldier shoots boy in Kaduna. You can get full details of all of the story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And then we have this one still from the Punch newspaper saying crude crisis, National Assembly to probe NNPC, Dangote refinery. And that story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Crude crisis, National Assembly to probe NNPC, Dangote refinery. You can get full details of that story, like I said, on page 21 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying CBN dumps 12-month forex policy with $876 million auction. CBN dumps 12-month forex policy with $876 million auction. You can get full details of that story on page 21 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And then we have this one saying fair queues may linger till next week. Fair queues may linger till next week. That's coming from the marketers there. Can get full details of that story on page 10 of the Punch newspaper this morning. We have this one saying oil theft, reps deny speakers $1.7 million bribe for appointments. Oil theft, reps deny speakers $1.7 million bribe for appointments. You can get full details of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still from the Punch newspaper, I have this one saying Nigeria urges ECOWAS defense chiefs to curb coup. Nigeria urges ECOWAS defense chiefs to curb coup. You can get full details of that story on page 14 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still from the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying power generation hits 3-year high of 5,105 megawatts. Power generation hits 3-year high of 5,105 megawatts. You can get full details of that story on page 10 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still from the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying EFCC quizzes Ogun officials over government funds. EFCC quizzes Ogun official over government funds. You can get full details of that story right there on page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And lastly, on From the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying Olympics gallant the Tigers bar out in quarterfinals. That's on page 31 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Olympics gallants the Tigers bar out in quarterfinals. You can get full details of that story from page 31 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Punch newspaper this morning. Very quickly, let's check the Guardian newspaper this morning. With this one written boldly as a banner headline here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning, saying higher education amid orders, public universities may make 12 billion naira from transcript requests in 5 years. Higher education amid orders, public universities make 12 billion naira from transcript requests in 5 years. All right, you can get the full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper, saying amid orders, public universities make 12 billion naira from transcript requests in 5 years. And then still from the Guardian newspaper, we have this one saying CBN auctions $876 million at 1,495 naira per dollar to clear retail FX request backlog. You can get full details of that story on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. I'll take that again. CBN auctions $876 million at 1,495 naira per dollar to clear retail FX request backlog. You can get full details of that story, like I said, on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Economic sabotage. Senate queries $1.5 billion spent on Port Harcourt refinery. Economic sabotage. Senate queries $1.5 billion spent on Port Harcourt refinery. You can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And still from the Guardian newspaper, we have this one saying that despite subsidy removal, Nigeria spent $600 million monthly on fuel importation. Despite fuel subsidy removal, Nigeria spent $600 million monthly on fuel importation. That story is on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying 24,816 people killed, 15,597 kidnapped in Nigeria in 5 years. 24,816 people killed, 15,597 rather kidnapped in Nigeria in 5 years. Can get full details of that report there on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. In another address, Tinubu asks Nigerians to look beyond temporary pains. In another address, Tinubu asks Nigerians to look beyond temporary pains. Can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. You're still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper with this one saying, don't fund politics with union dues. Ministry tells NLC, TUC. Don't fund politics with union dues. Ministry tells NLC, TUC. Can get full details of that story there on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And this one saying, Sanusi links Kano violent protest to intelligence failure. Sanusi links Kano violent protest to intelligence failure. Can get full details of that story on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying, grandma, son, grandchildren die after Amala meal in Ilorin. Grandma, son, grandchildren die after Amala meal in Ilorin. Full details of that story is on the Metro page of the Guardian newspaper on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And then we have this one saying, coup, terrorism threatening West African existence, says CDS. Coup, terrorism threatening West Africa's existence, says CDS. Can get full details of that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Guardian newspaper. Very quickly, let's check the Nigerian Tribune this morning. The Nigerian Tribune has this at the banner headline saying, Minister NNPCL, Dangote orders take fights before Senate panel. Minister NNPCL, Dangote orders take fights before Senate panel. The story has come to a lot of writers here saying now, demand live broadcast of probe. We are not thieves. Nigerians unfair to us. That's coming from Kiyari. And this one saying the federal government yet to meet 2024 crude targets. That's coming from Edun. And then this one is saying now we are competing against Russian products being sent to Africa. Dangote speaking, Dangote refinery speaking there. And this one is saying now Senate raises questions over $1.5 billion expended on Port Harcourt refinery. You can get full details of all of those stories on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And then still from the Nigerian Tribune, we have this one saying federal government spends $600 million federal government spends $600 million monthly to import fuel. Finance Minister. Federal government spends $600 million monthly to import fuel. That's coming from the finance minister there. You can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. We have this one saying, I didn't offer $1.7 million to Speaker to secure chairman of downstream committee, Ugo Chinyere. That story has a writer here saying reps leadership denies receiving reps leadership denies receiving inducements for appointments. That story here, I'll take it again. I didn't offer $1.7 million to Speaker to secure chairman of downstream committee. That's coming from Ugo Chinyere. Reps leadership denies receiving inducements for appointment. That story there is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And still from the Nigerian Tribune, this one saying, in trending video, Tinubu appeals to Nigerians for patience over hardship. In trending video, Tinubu appeals to Nigerians for patience over hardship. You can get full details of that story on page 28 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And still from the Nigerian Tribune, we have this one saying Nigeria rates 6th globally, 1st in Africa in tuberculosis prevalence. Nigeria rates 6th globally, 1st in Africa in tuberculosis prevalence. You can get full details of that story on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. This one saying NYSC declares Akwa Ibom coordinator driver missing. NYSC declares Akwa Ibom coordinator driver missing. You can get full details of that story there on page 24 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Shetima Obasanjo Southwest governors orders to attend Osun Industrial Investment Summit in September. You can get full details of that on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And then lastly, let's check this one still from the Nigerian Tribune. This one saying Army begins investigation. Detains soldiers over killing 16-year-old boy in Zaria. Army begins investigation. Details soldiers over killing 16-year-old boy in Zaria. And the story comes to writer that says, my son just finished writing final secondary school exams. That's coming from the mother of the disease there. And then this one saying attack on Kano oldest printing press. Ploy to destroy Kano City. That's coming from the Emir of Kano there. That's Emir Sanusi. Lamido Sanusi. Can get full details of those stories on pages 2 and 25 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And that's all we have from the Nigerian Tribune this lovely Thursday morning. Very quickly, lastly, let's check the Vanguard newspaper. With this banner headline here, saying steer clear of our internal affairs, FG1 foreign powers. Steer clear of our internal affairs, FG1's foreign powers. And that story comes to the writer here saying, we are probing 7 Polish nationals arrested over Russian flags in Kano. That's coming from the DSS there. Thugs harass journalists, beats up protesters in Rivers. Army arrests soldiers whose warning shots killed 16-year-old in Zaria. And this one saying, as COAS delegation visits family, Plateau Bauchi relaxed coffee. You can get full details of that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And still from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have this one saying UK assures Nigerians of safety amidst riots. UK assures Nigerians of safety amid riots. You can get full details of that story in the inside page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. NNPCL to Senate, oil and gas industry bleeding. NNPCL to Senate, oil and gas industry bleeding. That story also is on the inside page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Federal government spent $600 million on fuel importation monthly. Federal government spent $600 million on fuel importation monthly. That's coming from the Minister of Finance there, Wale Edun. You can get full details of that story also from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And then we have this one saying CBN eases FX pressure. CBN eases FX pressure, sells $876.26 million to end users at 1,495 naira per dollar. Okay, CBN eases FX pressure, sells $876.26 million to end users at 1,495 naira per dollar. Can get full details of that story on page 15 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And still from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Reps Committee Chair denies giving $1.7 million bribe to Speaker Abbas. Reps Committee Chair denies giving $1.7 million bribe to Speaker Abbas. Can get full details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And lastly here, let's check the sports story here saying the Tigers soar to 8th in FIBA rankings. The Tigers soar to 8th in FIBA rankings. You can get full details of that story on page 36 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the headlines also this morning. Very quickly, before we continue on the program, we'll be going on a very short commercial break, right after which we come back to check some headlines and then make some analysis as regards what they are speaking about this morning. And then before then, do not forget that we are streaming live on Facebook this morning. You are streaming live on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. That's the handle on Facebook. And drop your comments on Facebook. Do not forget, when the time comes, we open the phone lines too for you to join the conversation this morning. Still Newslands right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll be back after this short timeout.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time. So give your champs this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snack of future champions. Milo!
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704-714-2000 or 0701-000-8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
Hello, with everybody for you.
My Sabi people, how una dey? Na Sabi people dey listen to Sabi Radio. Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM, na dem be Sabi Radio.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Right, you're welcome back. It's still New Zealand's right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. And then we'll be going straight into the analysis of some of the stories we have this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook this morning. Just check us out on Facebook at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM and drop your comment there. We'll read them when we see them this morning. And of course, you can we will also be taking your calls at a later time on the show this morning. We'll open the phone lines. We want you to call in and just share your views and thoughts as regards some of the things we'll be discussing this morning. Okay, I have with me in the studio this morning, Kayode Ajani. Good morning, Kayode.
Good morning, Tayo. Good morning, our listeners.
And of course, I have with me in the studio, Comrade Omoju. Good morning, Comrade.
Many thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, we'll be starting with the story, talking about the oil sector this morning. And there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that sector since God knows when. Okay, this one is saying Minister NNPCL Dangote orders take fight before Senate panel. And then this one is saying demand live broadcast of probe. We are not thieves. Nigerians unfair to us. That's coming from Kyari. Federal government yet to meet 2024 crude targets. That's coming from the Minister of Finance, Edom. And this one is saying we are competing against Russian products being sent to Africa. Dangote Refinery speaking again there. Senate raises questions over $1.5 billion expended on Port Harcourt Refinery. You can get full details of that story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Before I take your view, Comrade and Kayode Ajani, I want us to listen to Mele Kyari this morning. He has something to say. Mele Kyari is the NNPC boss, and then he appeared before the committee yesterday, and then he's saying we are not thieves, we are trying our best. It's just that there's a lot for us to do at this point in time, and then we have a lot of forces that are mitigating against our work, and then he's saying probably Nigerians are not fair to them. I want us to take a listen to Kyari this morning on what he has to say as regards the issue of NNPC this morning.
That will do nothing to sabotage the economic interests of this country. As a matter of fact, NNPC is the economic interest of this country, and we understand this very, very perfectly. Just also by the provisions of the law, and also, and I can share this with you, for me and my colleagues in the NNPC, even by conviction of faith, Mr. Chairman, we will do nothing. We believe there is eternal accountability, Mr. Chairman. Even if you don't unravel what is happening, we know that God knows, and that God will hold us accountable. And we're after no one. We are persecuting nobody. We are not criminals. We are not thieves. We are serving our country, and we believe very, very strongly that we are faithful, loyal to this country. And we do nothing to sabotage.
All right, that was Mele Kyari there, the NNPC boss, saying they'll do everything in their possible best to serve their country, and they're saying that they're not sabotaging anybody's efforts, and they're not after anybody. Who is that person that they are talking about? Probably it's Dangote. He's talking about that they're not after anybody, and they're not trying to sabotage anybody's efforts in making sure that things come back to play. But then we've always been hearing all of these people coming to say, to give all of these kind of statements, saying we are doing our best. It's always been the same rhetorics over time and over again, especially as regards the oil sector in Nigeria. There's always been controversy, a lot of dramas going down in that sector. We've seen instances where some set of people said members of the House of Representatives received bribe so as to do this and that. The Minister for Finance also came out yesterday and saying that Nigeria has spent over $600 million in importing fuel despite the removal of the fuel subsidy. And we're asking the question, what exactly is going on in that sector? The NNPC boss is coming out this morning to say, excuse us, we are doing our best, and then we are not trying to do anything to sabotage the Nigerian economy. We are loyal to the system, and then now we are making sure that our best counts at the end of the day. He's saying we are not corrupt, we are transparent, we are doing everything possible to make sure things happen. Kayode Ajani, let me take your views as regards this first before we move on to the show this morning.
Thank you so much, Tayo. Well, firstly, you spoke about transparency and being loyal to the country. Yes, I'm not sure any Nigerian of today can actually say that he has seen the published report of NNPC audited account in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So with this, we cannot say that Mr. Kyari was right in that line, and at the same time, this is a function of semantics. And if we should start to actually dissect what he said, it is possible that he is actually trying his best, but the system is not making it to work.
At some point,
that is another perspective to it.
At some point, many were like, what did President Tinubu? Why is President Tinubu still keeping Kyari at this point in time? He should have allowed him go. At some point, some caucus in the House of Representatives, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, were like, Kyari should just step aside at first for them to probe the NNPC. But then it seems the president wants him there. What do you think about?
Yes, that is why I also feel that Kyari is more like the face. So I'm still of the opinion that there are some people, who are actually behind all these issues.
We've always been talking about
and then he's just working with their card.
We've always been talking about cartels, cabals, and then it seems the cabals go beyond Nigeria.
They have always been there right from time. They goes beyond Nigeria, but the fact is that they also have home-based representative, because all this will not be easy for them to actually operate without an insider, the one that we call our own here.
Okay, Kayode, I'll come back to you. Let me take Comrade Omoju's thoughts on that. You heard Mele Kyari speaking this morning saying they are loyal to the system, and then they are doing their best to make sure that everything comes back to normal. But then it seems their best is not being best enough, as we speak at this point in time, because we still have crisis. We still have people having to go to the filling station and queue for hours before they get petrol. And then the NNPC boss is saying they are transparent, they are not corrupt. But then he's saying that Nigerians may probably are not being fair enough with them. What's your take on this, Komido Moju?
I think he will say all of that actually, but an independent body is supposed to be set up to investigate that sector. At least he will come up in defense of himself, no doubt about that. But certainly, Mr. Kihari, I'm on international, so to speak, platform now. Your best is not good enough. Now, I traveled this last week, and sincerely speaking, I saw unsightly scenes, especially in the nation's capital where Kihari resides. I saw very barbaric, way of selling fuel. People carrying jerry cans and selling fuel like sachet water, like minerals on the street, which is very, very unsafe. You find some of these guys with jerry cans in the nation's capital. So uncivilized dimension of doing things, and that is where these people are. And you are still telling us now you need to see the queues across board. Now there's no stable price for the fuel right now. Some sell 900, 800, 700. So chaotic, sector, and at the expense of Nigerians. And somebody is still telling us who is being paid with taxpayers' money and with all the paraphernalia of offices, and you are still telling us that you are doing your best. Nigerians are not being fair. How? You see, some of these statements that come from these quarters, they are nauseating. So, Mr. Kiari, I say it with all sense of responsibility here, that your best, if you are doing anyone, is not good enough.
All right, sir. Kayode, yesterday, earlier when you were speaking, you talk about the cartel even extending beyond Nigeria, and then some set of people trying to even sabotage the Nigerian economy from outside the country. But then Dangote Refinery is speaking again. If then Dangote Refinery is speaking, that means Dangote is one speaking at this point in time, because Dangote has been speaking for the past 1 month or thereabout as regards to this issue of people sabotaging his efforts and then making sure that the Dangote Refinery works. And then we have this to say coming from Dangote, saying we are competing with Russian products being sent to Africa. And then at this point, as a matter of fact, the president made a declaration and said, do you know what? Sell crude to Dangote Refinery and some other refiners in Nigeria. Let them buy crude in Naira and then let them sell to Nigerians back in Naira. But then the refinery has come out to say this morning that they are competing with Russian products. And then it's affecting their markets. And it was also read in the newspapers yesterday, it was in the news yesterday, that as we speak, they've not started selling crude to the Nigerian refiners in Naira. And then Dangote Refinery is coming out to say again this morning that, we are competing with the Russian products. What's your take on this?
Thank you so much. I will start with the last point that you mentioned. You see, it is just quite unfortunate that it is easy for us to actually declare the removal of fuel subsidy on the spot, even though some have argued over the time that yes, it has already been technically removed before President Buhari, left. But the point here is that whenever we want to do some certain things, especially from the government offices, if it is something that actually interests them, all this bureaucracy and so on, it is not always that rigid. Yes, because now that the president made the declaration last week or so, what is stopping them from them to have commenced the
sort of
implementation?
Crude.
Yes, But whenever it is issues that actually do not really affect them, or that issues that maybe some people somewhere are not interested in, that is why we always see all this slow motion approach, all this approach, all this process that can be frustrating. I also once mentioned earlier that over the years too, majority of us have actually analyzed how Dangote have monopolized the market and so on. Fine, you see, some people might not actually like the face of the man, but the fact is that we cannot still deny the fact that he's feeling some vacuum. That's what we need to understand, and that is what those in power need to understand. Even if you don't like his face, you don't like his person.
This is all about them not liking his face, or there are some certain set of people that do not want that refinery to work because of their own personal interest.
Yes, it is still the same thing. And that was why I actually mentioned that even if you don't like his person, accept the fact that yes, he's actually doing something great for the people.
But then Dangote came on board and said, you know what? If you think it's easy, come and do it by yourself. You guys have companies abroad. Come and invest in Nigeria.
That's the point. Aside that, majority of them, if we should take a survey of our politicians, hardly will you see, maybe out of 100%, you will still see over 50% of them that runs an hotel or club, all these shortcut businesses in quotes. Yes.
Fast business.
Yes. You see, running businesses like, manufacturing companies, these are not easy ventures. That is the fact. When you look at the cost of operation, it is not the G guys that will patronize you and so on as they do in their hotels. We should speak truth into our senses.
Coming to Moju, Dangote Refinery is coming out to say they are competing with the Russian products that are being pushed to the Nigerian market. And then Dangote have been making a lot of revelations. And for the past 1 month or thereabout, he has accused several people. He's saying that they are sabotaging his efforts, doing all the sort of things. And at some point, even come on board and say, you guys have companies abroad. If you think it's easy, come to Nigeria and come and start your company. As a matter of fact, just like I already said, many might not like the face of Dangote because they might think they've given him the opportunity to monopolize the Nigerian economy. But then we have other people that are rich too that can do that kind of a thing. Let them give them the opportunity too. And then let me take your point. Let me take your thought as regards that.
Let me say this. I think this is addressed to Mr. President because the honor still lies on him as the number one citizen of the country. Now he has different people working for him, working under him. But when you want to mention the name of somebody at the ends of affair, if anybody is sabotaging your effort underneath, it's your name that will be mentioned. And that is why I will advise that Mr. President lives up to expectation in this regard and be far more. After all, he's the substantive minister of that sector. So if somebody is trying to, bring in something that will bring succor and respite to the people in this sector and is, complaining about sabotage, he should wake up to the responsibility of ensuring seamless operation for the man. Because I tell you, the issue of fuel, petrol, or petroleum product, is something that affects Nigeria as a whole, whether south, southeast, south, wherever. So anything that will sabotage your effort as number one citizen, anything that will make people to continue to, when they talk, they refer to you that, what kind of a government is this? I think at this point, in this critical moment of our country, it should step in. So those complaints that Dangote is making, I expected him, even personally, you can call him. Tell me, we have to be sincere with making this nation work.
There are cabals, there are cartels.
Nigeria is...
And these cartels go beyond Nigeria.
Nigeria is not only for cartels, is not only for cabals. Nigeria is for over 200 million people.
But then this sector we are talking about is not just about Nigeria. We have it's an international game.
Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Our interest should come first.
But then businessmen will not know that for you.
It's not about business, and that's why we have government. If it's a we are saying democracy here, government of who?
For the people, of the people, for the people, by the people.
So where is the people here? If you are talking about cabals.
All right, sir. As a matter of fact, the senator is saying they'll be probing the $1.5 billion that is spent on Port Harcourt refinery. You know, we've always been hearing Port Harcourt refinery will start working next week, will start working next month, will start working 2 months' time. But then up until now, it has not started working, and they spent up to $1.5 billion in making sure that they make that refinery to work. As a matter of fact, we have 3 refineries in Nigeria. And even if to check it, we wouldn't have needed the Dangote refinery to work if our own refineries are working. And then the Senate is saying the 1.5 billion naira you guys spent on Port Harcourt refinery, come and account for it. Come on the module.
But why? How can we? This is not paper. This is currency. Ad end money spent on a particular project that is not working. How long are we going to be continuing in this regard? How can that kind of money be spent where we have government, not military government this time, but government of the people, by the people, for the people, and we are having this kind of huge, humongous amount of money spent unaccounted for?
Okay.
I think they should go deeper and ensure that, okay, if this refinery is not working, where is the money?
All right, Kayode, let me take your thoughts on that. We have 3 refineries in Nigeria. None of them is working. We have to rely on Dangote to bring on his own refinery. And at this point in time, Dangote is even saying, let's not the fact that I want my own refinery too. You guys are not allowing me. And then they spent huge amounts of money. Just one of them is $1.5 billion spent on just Port Harcourt refinery. And then just to make the refinery work. But then nothing has been accounted for. You can't. The refinery has not been working. They've always been telling us to work next week, and then probably next week has not come up till now.
Yes, you see, I've just been smiling because you have spent, $1.5 billion, and we are telling Nigerians that you don't want the problem to be live. Are you joking or what? You see, yes, you see, these guys have actually been playing on our intelligence for a very long time. Yes. Even if there is anything more than live probing, I think we deserve that, because we need to hear who and who collected the contract, who and who did not do what they are supposed to do, because that has always been the problem. Awarding contract without implementation and payment. That is the problem. Even at the state level too, you see, state governors dishing out contracts without monitoring. Thankfully, recently now, we are beginning to see some changes where we have some agencies in place monitoring project delivery and so on, or just State as an example. But at that center, you see people, collecting contracts without delivery, and they are telling us that, that was why I also mentioned earlier that Kyari might just be the face of everything. Obviously, he's not the one that collected the $1.5 million. That is the fact. But he is part of the supervising authority. So he cannot tell us that he did not know how that.
He's the man in charge, so we'll ask him the question.
Yes. So you now telling us that you don't want it to go live, I think it is not acceptable.
Right, let's check this out before we go on the short commercial break now. The CBN auctions are $876 million at 1,495 naira per dollar to clear retail FX request backlog, and the CBN coming again to interfere, and they are saying now let's leave the naira to float just at the open market. But then the CBN is coming now with another intervention at this point in time. CBN auctions $876 million at 1,495 naira per dollar to clear retail FX request backlog. Kayode Ajani, what's your take on this?
1,495 is still huge. So where are we? That is the point. At what point are we going to leave this circle, just forth and back, without no, meaningful changes? Now, at the rate of approximately 1.4 or 1.5 now, compared to the minimum wage, less than $70. Imagine. is this the kind of economy that we should be proud of?
Comrade Omoji, your take quickly on that.
Mr. President is saying we should endure.
As a matter of fact, we are still coming to that. A video circulated yesterday where the president begged Nigerians again to just endure for a while.
How long is this a while? His administration is gradually eating 2 years, whether we like it or not. And somebody is still telling us that we should continue on this path after 8 years of serious, depression, all manner in the previous, government. I think it's time for action. 1,500 naira to $1 is a huge amount of money. It has ridiculed our naira.
It probably would have been more than that if the CBN didn't intervene rather.
Would have been more than that. It was more than that at some point.
That's what I'm saying.
The intervention is too meager, in my view.
But then the CBN had come out and said, we want the naira to flow. They want to leave it as to an open market. People should determine, the market forces should determine.
The same old story. How much did this government meet dollar to a naira? Let's start from there.
There's inflation all over the world.
How much inflation all over the world? You want to tell me that in UK, in US, is that bad?
Probably
in South Africa, is that bad?
Probably the government is coming out to intervene too, just like the Nigerian government is doing.
And so, how much impact is this intervention on Nigerians? How much impact is it making?
Okay. You made your point, Comrade Omoju. Let's go on a short commercial break now. And when we return, Newslands will continue. Drop your comments on Facebook. We'll read them when we come back. And then, of course, the studio lines are open already. We'll pick your calls when you come back from this break. Still Newslands right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Do not go anywhere.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
I will show you. Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 naira, while Super Pack is now 350 naira. So hurry now. Offer valid till stock lasts.
In any emergency, every second counts. The Nigerian Communications Commission brings you the 112 emergency toll-free line, available nationwide, anytime, any day, absolutely free. With just 3 simple digits, 112, help is on the way. Dial from any network at any time. No charges, just immediate response. Remember, the 112 toll-free line directly connects to emergency services. If you need the police, fire service, ambulance services, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, and more. Because when it comes to saving lives, we're all in this together at NCC. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight. Stay in power, you find it all in peak. Every move you make, Peak's got you all the way. And the beat goes on.
Power on every morning with our Peak Protein Breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
right, you're welcome back. It's New News right here on omoluwabi. It is 7.7 FM. And like I said earlier, we're going to be picking your calls right after the break. And then the studio lines are open as we speak now. You can join the conversation by calling the phone studio lines here this morning. 07047 007999. 07047 007999. You can also call us on 08053 888933. 08053888933. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of the program this morning. You can also drop your comment on Facebook at omoluwabi. It is 7.7 FM. Omoluwabi, it is 7.7 FM. All right, let's see who is here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from? Right, Mr. Sulaiman Sherry, please make your point. Good morning.
Thank God, Mr. President speak yesterday again in Nigeria and over leadership. But a leadership is about solving the problem. So, Mr. President is number one leader that we have in this country, and as a Grand Commander of Armed Forces, so he must lead by example, just to sacrifice. That's my own submission in that area. Because despite the monetary allocation that they are giving to all states, yes, we thank God that it has been increased. But the major problem is that the purchasing power is very low. Every one of us, we are going to the same market. What you used to purchase nowadays, inflation already is biting harder than before. What you can use 1,000 naira to purchase now, if care is not taken, you need to add extra money to it before you can get what you want. And it's a very pity that you're using much money by chasing few goods, which is very wrong. So, Mr. President, will address that. And that is the consequence of subsidy removal. Before God, I did that right. Thank you.
Amen. All right, okay. You made your point. All right, the studio lines are still open. You can join the conversation this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
I'm Alaji.
All right, Alaji, please make your point.
You see, it's quite unfortunate, the type of leaders we elect. They don't have the interest of the masses. The masses are the one paying for their own welfare, but they don't care about the welfare of those who are paying for them. They don't buy in the market the same we buy. And with the escalating price of goods and services, and drugs particularly, both the rich and the poor are not smiling, except those few who are in government. You see, when you continue to talk of kaba, we are spending 4 trillion every month on importation of fuel. Should we still be importing fuel? Who are those kaba who are not making things easy for Nigerians, for our oil refineries to work? You know them, name them. Remove their hands from these problems. We need things to work in Nigeria. We cannot continue like this. People are dying. You say you know our pains. If you know our pains, then do the needful to ensure that our pains are removed. That is what Nigeria needs.
Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless somebody else.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. All right, sir. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Aderonke from Listening.
All right, please make your point.
I said, how long are we going to be patient? Because the president keeps pleading that we should be patient, we should give him more time. So I think he should just do the needful by fulfilling his promises, especially the CNNG buses, which were promised. We are yet to see any of it in our state here. So it's only going to some buses rolled out by the state government that is being seen around. So he should just meet up with we should just meet up with our expectations, but not just by promising us to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. All right, let's read some comments on Facebook this morning. We have this one from Olukoni TNM saying good morning. Okay, good morning to you too. And then this one from Isiaka Omajisunwon is saying good morning, Omoluwabi FM. We need state police right now so that we farmers can go back to to farming without fear. We just hope that things will be done to make sure that our farmers the lives of our farmers are secured. Emmanuel Chukwu is saying well done, sir. Well done. Good morning to you too. We have this one from Oluwaseun Root saying good morning, Mr. Tayo. Okay, she's saying okay. Let's see. Okay, you see, Mr. Oluwaseun Ruth is saying, good morning, Mr. Tayo. He's saying, Mr. President's speech was nothing to write home about. That's your point. That's your own take there. To you, okay, saying Mr. President's speech was nothing to write home about to you. He's saying his speech didn't address the issue of fuel scarcity in the land, and I will implore him to revive moribund refineries, most especially the Port Harcourt refinery, and fulfill his promises on CNG buses, because if we have them in Oyo State, they will complement the efforts of the Omitutun buses too in the states in terms of transportation. Thank you very much for your contribution this morning. Sergio Joseph Maya saying, good morning, Mr. Tayo and the other guys in the studio. Well done for keeping us updated every day, live from Bauchi. Thank you very much for watching us live from Bauchi this morning. We sincerely appreciate you this morning. You can also join the conversation by dropping your comment on Facebook at omoluwabi 7.7 FM. Omoluwabi 7.7 FM. You can also call the full studio line 07047007999, 07047007999, or 08053888933, 08053888933. Those are the studio lines to call to be part of the program this morning. Coming to a module, let's talk about the president's speech before we leave the program this morning. The president has come out to say Nigerians should be patient with him, and then they're saying that things will soon get back to normalcy. Now that things Nigerians will definitely very soon enjoy the dividends of democracy. I want to have your take on that. In the popular, the video circulated yesterday, and then many Nigerians saw that video, and then there's been questions saying, until when, Mr. President?
Sincerely speaking, at this point, Nigerians don't need promises anymore. In fact, they don't need encouragement. They need result. They want action. Mr. President talked about 40,000 naira bags of rice to be sold.
Civil servants have been asked to come and start registering.
You can imagine. We are talking about drastic, desperate situation. You are talking about bureaucracy. Come and register. Come and do this. People are on the street. They are saying they are hungry. Now, you see, we are not particularly after the president, or maybe we just want to castigate, or no. We are talking from the perspective of the street. The pains that the average Nigerians are going through.
Yeah, the president is saying we should look beyond the current pains.
Okay, is he and his cabinet members and all the governors, ministers are going through pains? That's the question. Because you are telling us we should keep going through pains while you are using SUV, brand new, everything comes to you. Some are imported, and you are telling us on the street to keep, dying. I don't know how long that will take.
Interesting.
So we need action, not just promises anymore.
Interesting one there. Miss Steven from Facebook is saying, good morning to you too. We can see you there. All right, sir. That's about all we'll be able to take on the program this morning. Thank you very much, Community Moju, for being a part of the program this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Ajani had to step out of the studio to get something done very fast. All right, sir. Without much ado, join me again tomorrow morning on the program. New Zealand's radio on omoluwabi 7.7 FM. 7 a.m. is the time. Till around 8 a.m. on this dial, it is 7.7 FM. And do not forget that Jonathan Ibilegi will be coming up on board just when I take my leave now. We'll be coming up on board to take us on into the world of sport on the program Sports Reef. Right after which Kakaki Rowing will be coming to your listening pleasure on this dial also. It is 7.7 FM, the station that brings you the best in news, talk, and of course music. We are the voice of integrity. You can count on us anytime, any day. All right, my name is Oluwatayo Ajiwole, urging you to please take a wonderful care of yourself and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.